Let's get into another important conversation now. 4 teachers in 3 provinces have been shown the door after being found guilty of sexually assaulting pupils. One teacher allegedly asked a 13-year-old out for lunch. This is while another is said to have inappropriately touched a grade 7 pupil. Let's discuss this now with the Education Labour Relations Council's Matlose Moela. Mr. Moela, thank you very much for your time. And this particular conversation is one that is very upsetting for any parent. Let's start with your role as the Education Labour Relations Council. Where do you fit into this picture?
Okay, thank you very much, Toli, and good evening to our viewers at home. The Education Labour Relations Council, just to clarify it from the beginning, is a bargaining council for public education sector. We are involved in dispute management and collective bargaining services in the education sector. But then with regard to the specific case in point that we are discussing today, in 2018, the Education Labour Relations Council, or the parties to the council thereof, have concluded a collective agreement in which they have agreed as parties that every allegation of sexual misconduct against an educator, after investigations have been done by the Department of Education, such case must be referred to the ELRC so that it can be dealt with through what we call Section 188A of the Labour Relations Act, which is the inquiry by arbitrator. So those cases that you are talking about, the 4 cases, indeed, are our cases, and they were dealt with through this process.
And when you were dealing with each of these cases, talk to us about the mindset of the perpetrators. Did they own up to what they had done here, or was it simply denial upon denial upon denial?
These cases, specific cases you are talking about, all of the educators have in fact not pleaded guilty to the charges. And there was evidence that was presented by both parties to the dispute, except in one where the other educator in fact did not attend the hearing. But there was evidence presented in the process, and they were all found guilty. And in terms of the Employment of Educators Act, there is what we call Schedule 2, particularly Section 17. If an educator has been found guilty for any sexual-related misconduct, such educator must be dismissed. So, and the other thing that one must clarify here is that the cases are still for those of the Department of Education. However, in terms of the collective agreement, once they finish the investigation, they refer the cases to us.
Yeah.
And then we deal with them accordingly in terms of the collective agreement.
The sex offenders list is still in the works. Well, not entirely, because it's nearly there. Basically, the fight now is to do with when and how it is publicized. Talk to us about what is being done to make sure that individuals such as the 4 that are now dismissed from the education space do not find themselves in a different province and in a different school, because that's a perpetrator trying to trick the system in order for them to go back and become teachers when they actually are pedophiles.
You're correct, Toli. With the education labor, we appreciate the move on the Department of Justice to publicize the National Sex Offender Register. However, in respect of these cases, because they are cases that are dealt with through other quasi-judicial tribunals like the ELRC, when these educators are found guilty, their names are sent to Department of Social Development, so that the department can put their names as well in what we call the Children Protection Register. So we will also anticipate that this register will also be put on the public, so that the public can have a view on it on regular basis. Yeah. However, again, let me indicate that when the educator is found guilty, our other role is to send the arbitration award to the Provincial Education Department that has sent or that has presented the case to the ELRC, so that they can block that particular educator on PESAL. In other words, when they have blocked the person on PESAL, the person cannot go to another government institution or another provincial education department to teach, because as they put him on the PESAL to appoint the PESAL will show them.
Okay.
And again,
please go ahead. Please continue. Please continue.
Yes, I was to say again, when we have in fact found the person guilty, we send the award to South African Council for Educators, so that they can also, in terms of their mandate, investigate the educator and possibly strike the educator off the roll, so that that person then does not even have the license to teach. By the way, as I said, when the person is in the Child Protection Register, it means that they are unfit to work with children. They've been declared as such. So they will not work with children anymore.
All right. And that goes some distance into comforting the parents, particularly of those whose children were violated in this way. But there remains a concern. So you send a note to SACE, that is the South African Council of Educators. You also send a note to the Provincial Department of Education. But where the loophole is, and this is where many of the issues come from, Mr. Moela, is the district, because that's where people's files are put under people's doors in brown envelopes, so that so-and-so can get a post in this school. What about districts? Because that is where the rot is.
Goli and the listeners, when we send them to the provincial education, obviously the cases are coming from different provincial districts or districts. So we send the award to whichever provincial education department, so that they can disseminate to the relevant district in terms of implementation. And it is as the custodian of those provinces, the Department of Education must ensure that the awards are implemented, so that those educators do not find themselves on the list again as teachers. But as you are also raising the issue here to say some of the cases may not reach the ELRC, it's also our concern, noting the number of cases that are received from certain provinces where there's no enough cases. We're not saying that they must be enough. However, we are saying with the awareness campaigns that we go through year in, year out, these cases must be reported, so that the people can be dealt with. And those that are hiding the information, they must know that they will be found to be accomplices. Right. And then the law must also take its course on them.
Mr. Matlose Moela, thank you very much for your time, sir. He is with the Education Labour Relations Council. Thanks indeed for this important conversation.